morning, everyone. You guys have to wait for maybe a few minutes before I invite Sean here. What I really wanted to do here is, of course, welcome you all to such an amazing session, the keynote session on empowering through inclusion. I mostly talk about three things about myself. One is I'm a hardcore mathematician. I am a seasoned AI practitioner, and I actually love in building environment which is more inclusive, where every voice is heard and valued. I really want to thank Vidya ma'am. I don't know if she's there, but what a way to start the session. I think she presented so many interesting points. It's a summary of what we are going to hear today. So thank you so much again, Vidya ma'am, if you are here, because I think all of us will, we actually resonated very, very well to what she was saying, and especially her experience. Let me maybe, start with a quote. It's a quote by a Nigerian speaker, Ola Joseph, and the quote is beautiful. It's basically, says so many things about diversity. Diversity is not about how do we differ. Diversity is about embracing each other's differences. How many of you actually notice the color of R in diversity here? How many of you notice the difference in the color of R? How many? Give me a hand. You did. You did. Acknowledging the difference is the first step of inclusion. And accepting the difference is the second step. The third step is celebrating the difference together. If I go back and reflect on the quote again, it talks about so many beautiful things. So many, each of these words are so strong. It talks about inclusion is about how do you recognize that yes, there is a difference. It is all about embracing each other's unique perspective. Not just that, it is also about celebrating that unique perspective so that, we bring something from a unique perspective to the table. It also reminds us that, we need a work environment, a workplace which is more inclusive, and it values and leverages diverse talent. The quote is, again, it's not stopping that, it is, encouraging us to go beyond meeting just diversity quota. I know, I really love the question, but sometimes most of the leaders, they think about diversity only in terms of quota. So how do we actually build that culture, cultivate that environment which is, more inclusive, so that we all can think about creativity, innovation, and collaboration together. We all agree to this, right? Beautiful points, amazing quote, looking at so many things from a diversity and inclusive perspective, right? Now, why am I here? Why am I, repeating what probably we will see in next 2 days as well? There was one thought that came into my mind, our mind, where we wanted to know what is the current status of diversity and inclusion? What is the current landscape? How do we know, with all the initiatives, how do we know we are in the right direction? How do we know whatever we are doing, it's working in the right direction? Are there any challenges? Do we need to think about any, focus areas or challenges? Yes. Let me tell you what we did and what I am going to showcase here today. I'm going to talk through a few interesting data points that's just not my thought. That's just not an individual thought. That is hundreds of people coming together and sharing their insights with you. So, as we all know, diversity is a very, very strategic point for all of us, specifically in tech. AIM conducted the diversity DE&I survey. How many of you actually participated in the survey? Give me a hand. Okay, I see some names there. Perfect. So the survey was actually, that we had about 25% male and about 75% female taking the survey. The survey was taken by most different organization. It was, the respondent and participants, they were from different departments, different age, different types of companies, small businesses to large businesses, and of course, with different perspective. The survey had questions about diversity at workplace, inclusion at workplace, and what do you think about these initiatives? What is lacking, right? So what I'm going to show here today, we all are being tech-savvy people. I'm going to showcase some data-driven insights, key insights with you on that survey. So hold on there. While we talk about survey, and I'll showcase some of the challenges that people, respondents have mentioned related to D&I, I really don't want to stop, at the challenge. I want to ensure that we at least get some insights from a leader who has done this, who have managed this building such an inclusive environment for a big company. So I'll invite, after I share the key findings, I'll invite our Chief Digital Officer, Sean Ringsted, to share some strategic points on how we can navigate through the challenge, right? So let's go and see. Excited about the insights? Perfect. Here you go. Interesting. I really want you all to look at each of the points that's mentioned here, the numbers that is given here, and utilize the next 2 days in learning and taking back some commitment to actions and positive change from your side. The first one, very interesting one, positive, there is a consistent growth in women representation. But you know what the number is? 2023, 29% women representation to 30% in 2024. There is an increase. There is a consistency in the positive direction, but it has to, of course, increase more. And it has a positive correlation with the D&I initiatives. There are a lot of organizations who have women-specific D&I initiatives, right? In terms of the D&I initiatives, BFSI sector, 69% of the organization, they have women-specific, leadership-specific D&I initiatives. That's the good part to start with. Let's go with the second point. The question was about diversity, how much diverse you think your organization is. 51% think moderately diverse, not acceptable. And 9% think not at all acceptable. We need to do something about this. Making the work culture feel inclusive and diverse should be our first priority. And the number here, less than high diverse, is about 60%. The third one is the lack of diversity contributors. I've started the first two with the moderate one and the last one, which is 28%. Exactly similar to what Vidya has shared in terms of her experience. D&I initiatives, lack of, proper ways to see if there is an unconscious bias when you're talking about career growth in the organization, and also looking at the limited effort in hiring. Again, thinking beyond just that quota number. Last but not the least, to think about 38%, 27% men and 10% women. They either didn't even know if there is a D&I initiative in their organization, or there was none. Right? So these are some of the top key findings, where, as I said, this is the time. Without any ado, I would like to invite our Chief Digital Officer, Sean Ringsted, to come and share his valuable insights. Give a big round of applause, team. Thank you so much, Sean. It's again an honor and pleasure to be here with you on the stage. Sean, looking at the survey insights, I really want to pick your brain as a leader, as an expert. because you've made such a beautiful, inclusive environment for all of us in Chubb. In terms of the first problem or question itself, which is about, that there is a very slight increase in women representation in India. What do you think what we can do or what our organizations can do to actually faster the pace a little bit?
Great. Well, good morning, everybody. It's wonderful to see such a great audience. The pleasure's mine, and it's very humbling, particularly after the keynote, which I thought was terrific. And just to set expectations, right? We're all, I think, on a journey.
Yeah.
And in no way have we done it at Chubb, and I think we recognize that, right? And there's so much more that we can do, and I think the statistics reflect that, right? And you said it in your commentary. I think it's an increase, but it's like it's not, right? And I think none of us can be satisfied to see that number and that rate of increase, and that just underscores we have to be committed to this day in and day out. This truly is it's a journey. It's not a destination. And for us at Chubb, I mean, we're global. We're in 54 countries. I think we have nearly 40,000 employees, and the customers that we serve in those countries, they're diverse, right? We're a reflection of the customers that we serve, and we're nothing without the people that we have working at Chubb. And so diversity and inclusion is just so important for us. And when I look at the areas that we're growing in, when you think about Industry 4.0, right? And you think about those areas of technology and analytics, artificial intelligence, all those growth areas.
Yeah.
We want the best. We want the best talent to come and work at Chubb. And so for us, yes, it's not about quotas, right? It's about wanting the best talent that there is to come and work at Chubb and build a truly diverse culture.
Thank you, Sean. I think it makes sense. It's not about the number, but it's about how do we make everybody ready and skilled so that we will be able to get to the number that we are looking for. Awesome. Sean, on the second point that we saw, there were a few lack of diversities and there are a few initiatives which are lacking. But then, as a leader, what do you think how, the leader should leverage the diverse talent? Why do you think having a diverse talent is important?
Well, it's crucial to have a diverse talent, right? I mean, you start with wanting, as I said, the brightest and the best working for you. For me in my career, I think today the problem solving that we're having to do, I've never seen it greater, right? The type of problems that our clients bring, that we have within the organization. And so you need to be able to come at problems from different angles.
Sure.
And you need different perspectives at the table. And each perspective has a value and a place. This drive to multidisciplinary teams, to working agile, to smaller teams. We work better in that way, and we work better when we have diverse input around the table. And so you think about it in that way, that the problem solving that you have requires diverse thinking. So you need diversity, right? And you can think about that through gender, you can think about that through race, you can think about that through background. But we're much better, for me, much better problem solving if we're diverse. And then I think about a sort of a culture that is a meritocracy, and for me, there's one word I would put into the conversation as well, and that is potential. Not everybody is destined to the boardroom. I'm not destined to to the boardroom. But everybody should, right, regardless of background or circumstance, reach their full potential. And I think that's our real commitment at Chubb. As we build a meritocracy, everybody should be given that opportunity to reach their full potential. And you can be an introvert and have a great career and reach your full potential. So how do you create that environment where people can reach their full potential? They need to feel that their voice is heard, right? And that they feel comfortable expressing themselves. And so how do you create that environment? And we keep working at that. And it goes across all the way from hiring, making sure, you know, as you hire and you recruit, that you're accessing all the talent that's available. And when you bring people into the company and you train them and you give them those opportunities and you give them those experiences that are afforded to everybody. And then, you know, we think about retention every day, right? And making sure that talented individuals such as yourself, right, feel that they have the right opportunities at the company, and again, to create, you know, to achieve their potential.
Amazing. Thank you, Sean. 2 key takeaways from the point is problem solving itself requires diversity. And, you know, if you really want people to reach to their full potential, diversity or inclusive environment is crucial.
It's crucial.
Thank you so much. Coming back to the last point, I think, and that's something I think we definitely need to do something about, where 38% of respondents, they either don't know about their D&I initiatives, or, you know, there is none. So I would like you to inspire the audience here by talking about the importance as well as some of the initiatives that we have in Chubb.
Yeah, it's a very interesting statistic as well, and I think, you know, and we need to do much more, I think, on the men's side as well, right? To raise that awareness of the programs, and I think picking up on sort of the concept of allies, right? Yeah, clearly, there's very powerful networks and allies within the women community, but to think of men as allies as well to empower that. But we've got to raise the profile, right? And that number of men being unaware of diversity programs. So there's clearly work to be done there. And, you know, at Chubb, there is, as I said, it's a journey, but, you know, we put in place, you can think about it in terms of structures that we have across the organization to help encourage and foster diversity and inclusion. You know, they have different names, you know, whether it's sort of councils or committees and so on, to sort of provide a sort of a governance type structure to make sure that we're sort of strategically on the right track with driving the diversity and inclusion efforts, but then you know, activities as well. I think it's, you know, and we've spoken about this. It's holding yourself accountable. You put in place these activities, and you measure it, and you track it, and you drive it, and that's something that we're very, very focused on to make sure things happen, right? And when I look at what we've done here in India, very pleased, proud of the team on the work that they're doing. You know, set up the Women's Inclusive Network, so it's a structure, right? But it's the activities that's taking place underneath that, whether that's sort of externally, you know, participating in events such as this, or NASCOM, or, you know, we're participants in DIVE, which is sort of a diversity insurance network globally. So there's sort of networking type events. But when we look at our recruitment, right, where are we recruiting and making sure, and we are recruiting, and I say that as an unashamed plug, right? We're actively growing, and we need the best talent. So we're recruiting, and we need women, because we need the best talent in
Sure.
in the workforce. But then how do you do that? How do you make sure that recruiters don't have unconscious bias, right?
Sure.
That where if somebody's on a resume satisfies 6 of the 7 criteria, well, just give them a chance, right? Just sort of open up the aperture a bit more. And then once they're in the workplace, we've set in place structures around mentorship programs, having fireside chats. We're a global company, and so we've got a lot of successful females in the company, and exposing your colleagues here in India to that, right? Different career tracks and challenges that women have had. So inviting them in to be able to share their experiences. Thinking about the returnship idea and making sure that we can set up an environment where returning mothers can, juggle both things, right? So a lot of activities that we've put in place. But to me, it's really it's toned from the top, the management structure here and elsewhere, to be supportive of that. But making sure there's clear accountability on the ground, and then just drive through, and that's how you can measure the progress. Measure the progress.
Thank you, Sean. I'm a live example. I'm an ambassador of all the initiatives, and I think the amount of sensitivity and compassion that goes behind everything that we do within DE&I is amazing. Sean, maybe last.
Well, let me turn it around. You said you're an example. You're a great example. So let me turn it around on you. What if you look back at your career? What would have been some of the challenges that you faced, and how have you overcome them?
Okay, I wasn't ready for that to come back to me. Sean, I think all of us here as leaders, we have a very similar journey, but individual challenges. We all can write a book on our challenges. But if I had to summarize, the things that kept me going, kept me motivated, is, number one is, striking a balance between soft skills and technical skills. So I'm a mathematician from background, but I can actually sell beautifully, right? So bringing that balance is important. Second, of course, having the right mentors. Sean, I always had good people. I know Andrew from, I think, over 10 years now.
Right.
And he has been a great mentor. I have from my previous organization, amazing mentors, and now you. I always prefer to work with the employer or an organization which, not just talks about inclusivity, but embraces inclusivity every day in, day out, like Chubb. If one of the qualities that I think is very, very important is how do you again balance what you can let go versus what you want to pursue. Don't get attached to every, small and big thing. Prioritize and see what you want to let go and what you want to, hold on to. I think these will be something that, that kept me going. Okay, thank you for that question. That was out of the blue, but
that's great.
let me maybe just ask the last question. Sean, I know you have a beautiful, diverse network. How did you manage to get such a huge, diverse network? How can we do that? How can we build that?
I'm going to answer it a couple of ways as I think about the question. So one is, to me, you just look forward. You have to look forward.
Look for it.
And it's very kind of you to say it's a diverse network, but I'm never you can never be satisfied with that, right? And so I'm curious, and I love meeting people in different situations. So to me, it's just about putting yourself in the different situations, meeting people, always taking that phone call. Somebody says they want to meet you. I say yes. I find time on the calendar. But I start with you're never satisfied, right? And we've got to keep doing more to build it. And hopefully in a year it's an even better network. But I think, you know, the other way I think about it as well as opportunity. You know, I just mentioned that. And I just leave you with a message around sort of opportunity and taking opportunity. And I found that in my career, opportunities come up and you take them because they don't come round again. And I think it's an important message, particularly for this audience, right, and the topic that we're talking about, that take that opportunity, right, because it doesn't come round again. And I was having a conversation at lunch yesterday about this with a wonderful female leader who'd just been given a great opportunity, and she was nervous about it. And she said, there's about 10% of me thinks that I can't do the job. And I found that all the way through my career in the roles that I've been put in, right? You have to have, there's always a downside, right? There's always, something's not going to work or it's not right for me. But you know what? Somebody said to you, I believe you can do the job. And that should be enough. And so, you know, I just encourage everyone, like those opportunities when they come up, take them.
Amazing.
And that's where you'll be rewarded. That's how you'll grow. That's how you'll reach your potential.
Amazing. What a way to end, Sean. I'm open for all the opportunities, and I'm sure, you know, all of us going forward will be open enough to build an inclusive culture and an open and opportunistic culture. Thank you so much,
Thank
Sean.
you.
Thanks
Thank
for your
you.
time. I'll probably, you know, launch the report team. It's not.
On the report, we're launching the report.
Sorry. Okay, so the report is now available. This is a formal launching of the DE&I report. It's a beautiful report, lot of interesting numbers. This, you know, the report will be actually after the keynote session, will be emailed to all of you. So do go through the report, do go through some of the insights that we were able to, you know, extract in the report. And thank you so much. Thanks for being a wonderful audience, and thanks for your thoughtful conversation. Thank you, Sean. Thank you. Questions?
Hello, I have a question.
Yeah, we have the lady at the back, towards your right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
there.
can you
I
see me? Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, good morning, and I'm Harshika.
Hi,
Thank you for all of the insights. It was very educational. I'm going to come from a mental health perspective because I'm a psychologist, and my question is that Mr. Sean had said something very beautiful, which is important to notice potential irrespective of background and circumstance. But in India and globally, every aspect of DEI that we speak is more physical or personality based, but we never speak about neurodivergence. As globally and as a country, are we ready to provide those opportunities for potential with people with neurodivergence? Because I work with children. And when I work with children, I am grooming them to fit into the society. But the society is not giving them the opportunity to work. Beyond their teenagers, if they have ADHD, if they have autism, if they have learning disabilities, they don't know where to go because there is no opportunity. So then as a DIY initiative, what are the companies doing? Because then I would like to take it back to my organization.
Sean, you want to take that? The mental health. You want to repeat the question?
Yeah, could you
Wasn't
repeat the
very
question?
clear.
I was-
Either we come down. I understood the question very high level. Maybe I can repeat the first part of the question. And if we could just come a little closer so that we understand this. So her question is, Asmita's question is, you know, inclusivity, diversity is mostly in India is taught in a physical appearance manner, but not, you know, the mental health is not considered. The second part, Asmita, if you could talk about
the second part was, in India and as well as globally, are we ready and do we have the opportunities to accept people with skill set and potential but who have neurodivergence? For example, I had 2 clients, both who had ADHD, right? But their companies did not know it purely because they were worried if their companies do know it, they would not get the opportunity. So they had skill set and neurodivergence, but nobody knew about it. And it was a struggle every day to ensure that they had to keep up with the work deadlines where actually they needed some accommodations to be able to work effectively.
If I can just add, maybe Sean, while you're putting your thoughts together, I think the first thing, the diversity are, the acknowledgement is important. Let's not hide it. Don't care what people will say. Don't care if you're getting the right opportunity or not, especially in terms of what you want. But if you're being open and honest about, hey, I need this support. Hey, I need some difference in terms of how I work. If you're being honest and open about, not this organization, but there will be some organization which will help you exactly, and that's the best place for you to be, which will help you exactly, accommodating the kind of needs that you have, right? So I think being open and honest about the kind of person you are, the kind of support you need, every day I wake up, I have something, I go and ensure that I ask for support and be honest. I know there are challenges, but probably the solution will take time. But maybe today, being open and honest, we open the doorway of the solution so that in future we are able to make a more inclusive environment from mental well-being perspective. Sean, you want to add something to that?
That's a great answer, and I'm just catching up to the question, so I apologize. But I think it's an excellent point, and I love the angle as well, right? I mean, and I think we're early in thinking about where and how neurodiversity plays in. But if I go back to the type of problems that we're now trying to solve, neurodiversity is a real skill. And I think it's going to be a real asset going forward to companies, and it's going to be important to employ people with neurodiversity. How we integrate them and give them those opportunities in the culture, again, I think we're early. Thinking about fitting into team structures, right? Thinking how they work and making sure that they can contribute and reach their potential. But it's an excellent point, and I think it just underscores the whole topic around the more diverse the workforce is. I think the better off the company is from a culture point of view and its ability to solve problems.
Such a lovely question. Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Unfortunately, we have run out of time for questions, but if you all could do questions offline, would that be okay with you all?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, because there's the lady up front as well, and there are a few other people who put their hands up. Can we hear a big round of applause on stage? Rai and Sean, thank you all very much. If you could join them in the audience, thank you very much for being with us.